Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're taking a journey together into what I like to call the expanding horizon. We're going to explore the absolute cutting edge of humanity's speculative future. We'll be starting right at the micro level, looking at the inner workings of the digital mind, and then we'll continuously zoom out, all the way to the breathtaking scale of planetary and even interplanetary civilization.
Are we merely using technology, or are we designing the destiny of our species? It's a really profound thought to kick us off. When we talk about these speculative futures, it often feels like we're just discussing pure science fiction, right? But when you look closely, this is actually the logical, inevitable next step of historical trends that have literally been in motion for centuries. We aren't just passive bystanders in this era. We are the architects.
Okay, let's dive into this roadmap. We'll progress through 5 distinct eras today. We'll start with the quest for artificial general intelligence, move into human and AI symbiosis, then zoom out to becoming a spacefaring species. From the stars, we'll look back at our post-scarcity economy, and finally arrive at the ultimate meta level, designing our ethical destiny.
Let's start with Section 1, the quest for AGI.
To really ground us, we have to clearly define what we're actually building toward here. Artificial General Intelligence, or AGI, is defined as a machine capable of performing any intellectual task at a level comparable to human cognition. Now, this is fundamentally different from the specialized, narrow AI we interact with every single day. Those systems that are locked into singular tasks like translating languages or playing chess. AGI is different. It's the unified mind, capable of dynamic, sweeping thought across entirely unrelated domains.
Now, to truly understand where we're going, we kind of have to look at where this whole pursuit began. This speculative future is heavily anchored in a long intellectual tradition of mechanized reasoning. It stretches all the way back to 1950 and Alan Turing's imitation game, which of course we now call the Turing test. What's fascinating is how remarkably simple that original test was. It was just a text conversation trying to fool a human into thinking a computer was a real person. From there, the pursuit moves through the formal birth of AI at the 1956 Dartmouth Conference, with pioneers like McCarthy and Minsky, straight into our 21st century breakthroughs in deep learning and artificial neural networks. The technical heart of AGI, the thing that completely separates it from standard AI, is generalization. Imagine an AI that learns to balance a bicycle in a simulation and then seamlessly applies that exact same balance to riding a motorcycle without needing a single new line of instruction. That's generalization. Researchers are pursuing this right now through hybrid models that combine statistical learning with logical inference. Philosophically, this challenges the very boundaries of our own consciousness. And historically, well, it's really just the next great extension of our intellect. Think about the invention of the printing press. Before it, human knowledge was completely limited to what a person could remember or, copy by hand. The printing press externalized our memory, massively expanding what the human mind could achieve. AGI is the exact same type of leap. Only this time, we're externalizing not just memory, but reasoning itself.
Which leads us to Section 2, Human and AI Symbiosis. Now, what's really interesting about this is how sharping our actual history contrasts with that common, everyday narrative of AI coming to replace us. We hear that old fear everywhere, right? That AI is this fierce competitor. But the actual foundational vision, proposed back in 1960 by J.C.R. Licklider and refined by Douglas Engelgart during his famous 1968 Mother of All Demos, was entirely different. They envisioned a mutually reinforcing partnership, a world where computers handle the routine computation and humans provide the strategic interpretation and creativity. Technology shouldn't replace the intellect, it should augment it. And we are absolutely seeing this collaborative intelligence in action today. Think about modern augmented systems in medicine. Imagine an AI flagging a potential, highly subtle medical diagnosis in a split second by analyzing millions of similar cases globally. That doesn't eliminate the human doctor, not at all. Rather, it leaves the doctor completely free to spend their time discussing treatment options, navigating the ethical nuances, and providing essential emotional care to the patient. It completely redefines professional expertise. It demands higher-level critical thinking and interdisciplinary problem-solving from us, forming a truly interactive cognitive environment. Zooming out even further now to Section 3, becoming a spacefaring species. 1969, the Apollo 11 mission. This date is absolutely the ultimate historical anchor for this era. And here is a totally wild fact to put that incredible achievement into perspective for you. The guidance computer that successfully landed those astronauts on the moon had less processing power than a modern musical greeting card. Let that sink in.
Yet human ingenuity used it to prove, undeniably, that humanity could successfully navigate to and operate on an entirely different celestial body. It proved our reach is not limited to our atmosphere.
The progression of space exploration follows a really fascinating logical path. First, we had the Copernican revolution, the stunning realization that planets are actual physical worlds governed by natural laws, not just unapproachable lights up in the sky. Step 2 arrived in the late 19th century when Konstantin Tsiolkovsky provided the mathematical foundation, the rocket equation, to actually escape Earth's gravity. And now, Step 3 is our modern challenge: closed ecological life support systems. To colonize permanently, we have to create a completely self-contained biosphere. It's not just bringing oxygen tanks, it's practically growing potatoes in Martian soil exactly like we saw in the movie The Martian, totally recycling every single drop of water and breath of air in complete isolation. But transforming into a spacefaring species isn't just a massive engineering challenge. It carries incredibly profound legal and philosophical implications. As we target the Moon and Mars for vital resources, specifically water ice, which is incredibly valuable because it can be split into hydrogen and oxygen to make actual rocket fuel, the stakes become enormous. We desperately need frameworks to manage these resources without simply repeating the conflicts we've had on Earth. This is why agreements like the 1967 Outer Space Treaty are absolutely critical. It ensures peaceful and cooperative governance on a multiplanetary scale. Looking back at Earth from the stars, we arrive at Section 4, the post-scarcity economy. For pretty much all of human history, society has been entirely dictated by the constant grinding constraint of scarcity. But post-scarcity economics? That's a theoretical future where technological productivity is so remarkably high that essential goods are produced in overwhelming abundance. Interestingly enough, this isn't a completely new concept. Way back in the 1930s, the economist John Maynard Keynes predicted that exponential productivity growth might eventually eliminate the need for human labor to sustain simple survival, literally completely freeing us up for creative, scientific, and social pursuits. Let's move to the timeline and see how this logically builds. You can see the steam engines of the 18th century kicking off the Industrial Revolution, literally replacing human and animal muscle with tireless machinery. We accelerated that into mass production with the 20th century assembly line, churning out physical goods faster than ever before. And now that exact same historical trajectory flies straight into the 21st century's digital economy, where the rules of physical production change entirely. This trajectory perfectly illustrates a really cool concept called ephemeralization. It's a term coined by the brilliant architect Buckminster Fuller, meaning the ongoing ability of technology to do more with less. A surprising and beautiful fact here is that our current digital economy fuels this through near-zero marginal cost. That simply means that once you code a piece of software or record a digital song, making 1 million copies of it costs essentially nothing. When you combine that near-zero cost of digital replication with major advancements in renewable energy and automation, you naturally start favoring cooperative, open-source economic structures over traditional survival-based competition. And that brings us to the ultimate meta-level, Section 5, Designing Our Ethical Destiny. If we are going to consciously design civilization at this massive planetary scale, we really need a guiding metric. And to do that, we look back to antiquity, to Aristotle. He introduced the concept of eudaimonia, living a life of fulfillment through reason. This ancient idea perfectly grounds our modern ethical civilization design. It is the conscious effort to ensure that all of this spectacular scientific progress we've been discussing is guided fundamentally toward human well-being, long-term sustainability, and global justice. So the absolutely crucial point here is how our design methodologies must evolve. Historically, engineering relied heavily on trial and error. It was reactive problem-solving focused entirely on immediate utility. Think about building an early bridge. If it falls down, you figure out why and build it stronger next time. Simple. But today, as our technology reaches a planetary scale, we require value-sensitive design. This is proactive systems thinking. It means we have to anticipate unintended consequences and embed core human values like privacy, fairness, and safety directly into the earliest architectural stages of our interconnected digital and physical infrastructures. The philosopher Hans Jonas argued that our massive technological power carries what he called an imperative of responsibility. As our capacity to alter the planet, and eventually other planets, grows exponentially, so too does our absolute obligation to the future generations who will inherit the systems we are designing right now. Our immense power demands an equally immense level of foresight. The true challenges of this era, things like planetary climate change and the overarching governance of artificial general intelligence, completely transcend national borders. They simply cannot be solved in isolation by any single country or corporation. This demands that humanity mature. We must permanently shift from being reactive problem solvers to becoming proactive stewards. This level of stewardship requires unprecedented global cooperation and firmly shared ethical standards to ensure a flourishing future for everything on Earth and beyond.
And this brilliantly illustrates how we've come completely full circle. In this speculative era, we do not merely use technology, we are designing the very destiny of our species. Every time you interact with an AI, every time you participate in the digital economy or advocate for sustainable practices, you are an active participant in this grand unfolding architecture. I'll leave you with this final, truly vital thought to mull over. We now possess the technological blueprint for a post-scarcity spacefaring civilization, but do we actually have the wisdom to build it? Thank you so much for exploring this with me today in this explainer. Keep questioning, keep learning, and I'll see you next time.